betrayed by the man he called brother, Wang Chong, the god of war of Great Tang, died at the very peak of his power. Then heaven turned back 30 years, and the clan's most despised son woke up remembering every traitor, every disaster, and every fortune to come. This time he outsmarts them all. His last soldiers fell around him. Their cries still echoed, "General, forgive us. Your subordinates go first." He swung his sword until his last breath. But this game had long been decided. Just then, a familiar figure appeared amidst the enemy ranks, Kang Nalashan. He sneered, "Wang Chong, give up. I've already spoken with the king." The one who stabbed Great Tang in the back wasn't an external enemy, but a traitor who sold out the entire realm. Wang Chong looked up and roared, "Kang Nalashan, you will be buried with me, and with Great Tang." There was no retreat. He channeled all his remaining true essence to his dantian. With a hand seal, the god of war self-detonated his dantian with his very life.
A sky-shattering explosion.
A wave of true essence swept across the battlefield, dragging thousands of enemies to their graves. The god of war was dead. As the smoke and dust settled, only ashes remained on the battlefield. But in his final moment, he wished for one thing. "If I could do it again, I'd give everything." Just then, the old shooting star fell again, the star that had once brought him to this world. Would heaven grant him a second chance? Would Great Tang escape annihilation? The vortex of time opened, and destiny once again rewound 30 years. The darkness shattered. Wang Chong's eyes snapped open, no battlefield, no hell. His childhood bedroom. He stared at his hands, young, unscarred, 15 years old, 30 years before the fall of Great Tang. He was back. A finger poked his shoulder. "What are you mumbling about, big brother?" His little sister Xiaoyao, alive, pouting at him. "Father's coming home. Mother says dinner in the main hall." In his past life, he only knew indulgence, distant from his family. By the time he lost everything, it was too late. He slowly clenched his youthful hands. This time, everything would be different. "In this life, I swear, no one in my family will die again. Great Tang will not fall, and those thousands of foreign cavalry, this time, I'll be ready." At dinner, the family's prodigal son did the unthinkable. He bowed. "This is my fault. I will cut ties with those friends. From today, your son will change." His father choked mid-scold. His mother simply picked him a chicken leg, the mother who, in his past life, died in the family's ruin. Not this time. Then he dropped the real bomb. "Father, mother, I want to join the army, and I choose Kunwu camp." The table went dead silent. "Longwu and Xinwu are far superior," his father sputtered. Wang Chong only smiled. In 30 years, this despised camp would produce nearly every famous general in the realm, and only he knew it. Then, at the end of the meal, a servant slipped his father a card. 3 words. 10,000 Crane Pavilion. Wang Chong's blood ran cold. In his past life, that one invitation dragged the whole Wang family to its grave. He begged his father not to go. "Adult business," came the reply. Fine. If he couldn't stop the trap, he'd break it himself. If he couldn't persuade him, he'd save himself. To break this trap, he needed a master. That was his 10-year-old youngest sister, the Wang family's #1 master, with innate meridians. He enticed. "Big brother will take you somewhere amazing," she glared. "If you trick me, you'll regret it." Humph. Before 10,000 Crane Pavilion, Ma Zhu sauntered over, sneering, "Young Master Sung, I heard you were grounded?" Smack! A thunderous slap sent stars flying. The bustling street suddenly fell silent. He stared him down. "I once considered you a brother, but you saw me as a fool. Did you think I knew nothing?" The girl exploded in fury. "You scoundrel! How dare you bully my brother? I'll beat you to death." Exposed, Ma Zhu had no choice but to lead them inside, to where Yao Feng, old Yao's son, his instigator, was hosting a banquet. He slammed his cup, declaring war. "Yao Feng, this is called an eye for an eye." Yao Feng's face twisted. He roared, "Guards! Take them down!" Before the guards could reach them, the girl struck. Crack! A wrist snapped in two. He stood back, directing each move. "Little sister, spiritual ram horn, break his bones." With another kick, the enemy flew through the wall, crashing onto the street below. The young masters turned pale. Good heavens! A 10-year-old girl. How can she be this terrifying? His father came up from the floor below. Without asking for details, he mistakenly scolded his son. He didn't argue, only called after him. "When you return to the border, if you see the Hu invaders cross, remember to retreat 50 li first." Why retreat? No one understood. But soon everyone would know. The god of war had returned. In this life, everything that was lost, he would reclaim piece by piece. How? Don't miss the next episode. Right in the middle of Wanha Tower, before a crowd of onlookers, Wang Chong suddenly knelt before his father. He only had one plea. If King Song asks, "Father, tell him old Yao tried to recruit you, but you refused." Wang Yen roared in fury. "Enough! Haven't you shamed us enough? Get back to the manor now." But as they left the tower, a luxurious carriage parted the crowd, heading straight for them. Dragon carvings adorned its wheels, a symbol only royalty could use. The old steward bowed. King Song invites the general. His father, stunned, got in the carriage. He reassured his sister, "Father won't be back soon. The deployment order is coming." Two officials remained on the street. He bowed to the scholar in white and utterly ignored the other. The scholar smiled reassuringly. "You merely beat young Master Yao. King Song will be impressed, if anything." He replied, his eyes fixed on the old official. "The one who laughs last is the true victor." The old man paled, stammered a few words, then vanished into the crowd. The scholar watched him, his eyes turning cold. Meanwhile, at the Yao Manor, Yao Feng had just woken up, only to receive a thunderous slap from his own father. Old Yao roared, "You've ruined the chessboard I painstakingly arranged." He hadn't given up. Having turned hostile, he resorted to a bitter scheme. How could my plan fall so easily? At King Song's manor, Wang Yen knelt in the empty great hall. From the shadows, a deep voice echoed. "I hear old Yao invited you to the Wanha Tower banquet?" The entire hall fell silent. Wang Yen replied, exactly as his son had instructed. "He wanted to pull me to his side. I refused." King Song sighed in relief. "So that's how it is." He then discovered. His warning letter had been stolen by his close guard. As he left the manor, a general rode up, handing him a blazing red token. He had to immediately depart for the border. His son's 3 predictions, all 3 were correct. Wang Yen clutched the token, unable to utter a single word. Days later, the scholar recounted everything, his voice still full of surprise. The one who saw through it all is only 15 years old. King Song immediately ordered the 2 traitors exiled to Lingnan and Mabai, imprison them there until death. He also decided he would personally meet the Wang boy right at his grandfather's birthday banquet. On the way back to the manor, Wang Chong thought further. To change his destiny, he first needed a lot of money. Just then, he suddenly remembered something. Usi steel. That's right, Usi steel. A miraculous steel, forged into blades that cut through armor like paper, yet no one in the Great Tang knew its true value. The ore was in the hands of some Indian monks, and in just 30 years this mine would be completely depleted. So he turned to invite his sister. "Xiao Yao, want to come with me to the street to find some people?" Vermilion Bird Street, where people from the western regions gathered most. Blue-eyed Hu people, Turks, merchants from everywhere. In the pawn shop at the end of the alley, he threw out a silver ingot for information. The old shop owner's eyes crinkled. "Oh my, young Master Sung." But the answer was like a bucket of cold water. Those monks have left the capital with a trade caravan all the way to Jade Gate Pass. Night fell, the siblings made their way back to the manor. Their mother was already waiting at the gate, her face as cold as ice. "Stop right there." Their mother pressed them with questions. "You 2 brats? Where did you go today?" To Wanha Tower? Only there? It turned out the Yao family had sued all the way to the emperor, even involving their grandfather. Their mother's eyes welled up, the birthday banquet, right before them. Just then, Xiao Yao jumped up. It was Yao Feng who ordered Ma Chu to falsely accuse brother of rape. I saw it with my own eyes. Hearing this, their mother's anger immediately stopped. It turned out her son hadn't caused trouble, but had gone to clear his name. Before their mother could punish them, the girl loudly complained of hunger, pulling her brother to run. Brother, run fast. That night, Wang Chong tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Would his chance to change his life just slip away? Wait, the old shop owner said those monks spoke with a strange accent. But true Indian monks only speak Sanskrit. So he recognized the wrong people. In other words, the real monks are still right here in the capital. The next morning, 2 guards blocked the door. Young master, by madam's order, for the next few days, you are not to leave your room. Wang Chong just smiled. I'm going anyway. You two might as well come along. If anything happens, you can still stop it. The two looked at each other, then nodded. We subordinates will follow young master, even if young master goes to the latrine. By the time his mother received the news, the 3 were already in the western city. She couldn't believe her ears. How can this be? Following the clues, he finally found Xian Shui Street and saw 2 dark-skinned monks wearing brown kasayas.
Wang Chong approached.
The 2 monks immediately waved him away. What could a mere boy possibly buy or sell? He remained calm. Don't be quick to refuse. Though I am young, I am the most worthy buyer you will meet. Then immediately after, he spoke a fluent string of Sanskrit. The entire street corner stared at him in astonishment. He introduced himself as the Duke's grandson, then showed a token. The 2 monks immediately changed their attitude. Hearing him ask to buy Usi steel, the monk shook his head to correct him. You're mistaken. What we sell is Hyderabad or... From a pitch-black iron tube, they pulled out a mottled black or block, weighing 50 caddies. The monk confidently said, forge a blade from it. Even unsharpened, it's terrifyingly sharp. But the terms of sale were unprecedentedly tricky. Only gold accepted, only sold in bulk. Half had to be paid in food. Wang Chong immediately understood. Their homeland was suffering from famine. He nodded in agreement. Payment in goats, camels, or fruits was also acceptable. When it came to the price, the monk was firm. 300 taels of gold per block. That's the lowest, no more bargaining. 300 taels of gold per block, while the entire Wang family's fortune combined was only a few thousand taels. Everyone thought he would bargain. But no, he took a deep breath and said something that left the 2 monks speechless. What I want to buy is the exclusive distribution rights for all Hyderabad or, across the Central Plains, across the entire East. 15 years old, not even a single tael of gold in his pocket. What would he use to swallow the entire trade of a nation? Will the 2 monks nod, or wave their sleeves and leave? The first gamble of the reborn war god begins here. He demanded exclusive distribution rights. The 2 Tianju monks could only stare blankly. Distribution? What's that? After he explained, they set a condition. Sell all 300 or blocks within 1 month. He calculated in his head, then blurted out the number. 300 blocks. That's 90,000 taels of gold. 90,000 taels. Even the Wang family's entire fortune couldn't afford it. Yet he still nodded. All right. They arranged to sign the contract at Dali Temple. As soon as they hit the street, a subordinate whispered, someone's been following us since we left the manor. It was 2 guards from the Yao manor. He wasn't flustered at all. He turned to ask the 2 monks for a strange favor. Would you 2 mind chanting a Buddhist scripture for me? Sanskrit echoed through the street, sounding utterly foreign. The 2 guards looked at each other, then scornfully walked away. A kid with a few monks? What trouble could they cause? Having shaken off their tail, he calmly went to Dali Temple and signed the 90,000 tael contract. As soon as he parted with the 2 monks, a bronze carriage suddenly sped up, blocking his path. A hand reached out from the window, grabbed his ear, and yanked him inside. It was his sharp-tongued cousin. Inside the carriage, his cousin immediately questioned him. I hear you've been quite the talk of the town these past few days? Next to her was a young lady in red, sitting quietly, observing, her eyes wide with curiosity. He calmly explained, "How big is Yao Feng and how big am I?" He was the one who made the first move. Then he lowered his voice, revealing a shocking truth. "All right, I deliberately went to 10,000 Crane Pavilion. The Yao family harbors ambitions against the Wang family. I couldn't let their schemes succeed." His cousin nodded, believing him. No one in their own family would harm their clan. She also promised to ask the young lady in red to step forward. The daughter of a duke, one word from her was worth 10 from others. His cousin pressed him again about the monks. He calmly replied, "I owe them 90,000 taels of gold." His cousin's face turned pale upon hearing this. "You brat, joke like that again, and I'll chop you to pieces." He chuckled to reassure her, then asked, "You have many connections. Could you help me find some master blacksmiths? Let's go to 8 Deities Pavilion." That was where the children of noble families gathered, even grander than 10,000 Crane Pavilion. The one competing was his childhood friend, a young Master Wei, round-faced and fond of gambling. His opponent, young Master Gao, launched an overwhelming attack, beating young Master Wei badly, causing the entire hall to burst into mocking laughter. In the crowd, he leaned in and whispered each move: horse stance elbow strike, then spin like a falcon. His friend followed obediently. A kick flew out, sending his opponent flying 6 or 7 zhang away. The entire hall fell silent. Young Master Gao scrambled to his feet, yelling, Who just gave advice?" The entire hall was in an uproar, searching. Just then, Wang Sung calmly stepped out of the crowd. Young Master Gao gathered all his strength for a counterattack. He immediately pointed out 3 more moves. His friend launched a strike, sending Gao flying over the fence. His friend jumped up, hugging the pile of winnings. "We won. We're rich this time." Then his friend loudly boasted, "This is my brother, the one who beat Yao Feng black and blue." The entire hall's expression immediately changed. He pulled his friend aside to talk. His friend advised, "Stay away from Ma Chu and befriend the children of powerful families." Just then, a young master in white rushed over, looking for trouble. "Oh, isn't this young Master Wang?" He didn't bother to argue, just smiled. Perfect timing. "Lend me some money. 2% interest per day. However much you lend, I'll take." The entire hall burst into laughter. He announced to everyone, "Whoever lends, I'll write a proper IOU." The young masters scrambled to pull out their silver. The young master in white suddenly realized the scheme and quietly slipped away to inform Yao Feng. Old Yao heard his son's report and merely waved his hand. "Let him borrow, don't touch the Wang family for now." Young Master Gao, carrying Yao Feng's money, returned, only hoping to see him fail. He collected over 200 taels of gold. The young man in white slammed a money bag onto the table. "Here's 1,500 taels. Pay back 2,400 in 1 month." He didn't bat an eye, picked up the brush and signed immediately. "If you dare to lend, I dare to take." His friend pulled him into the carriage, extremely worried. 1,700 taels. If you can't pay it back, you're doomed." He just smiled. "I know what I'm doing. I won't make a mistake." Then he told the truth. He still owed 90,000 taels for the Hyderabad or batch. His friend nodded and even threw a test punch, only to find him weak. Back at the manor, he gathered 1,700 taels. At the same time, at the white agate shop, 2 elders were stunned to hear the news. The Hyderabad or batch. Someone had already bought it. The 2 elders' eyes widened. "A child?" The interpreting monk nodded. "That's right. His name is Wang Sung." His carriage had just arrived at the manor gate. His mother had been waiting there for who knows how long, clutching a wooden stick covered in thorns. 2 subordinates knelt prostrate. "We messed up. Please punish us, madam," he interjected. "It's my fault, mother, punish me." She was about to drag all 3 to White Tiger Hall for punishment. Just then, an envoy unexpectedly walked in. In his hand was a sandalwood box, a gift from King Song. His mother was bewildered, not understanding why. The envoy explained. King Song had heard of him, admired the foresight of a young man, and thus ordered a reward. He immediately understood. It's just thanks to a noble person's recommendation. His mother quickly urged. Quickly thank King Song, my son. Back in his room, he unlocked the hidden mechanism of the box. Inside, on a bed of yellow silk, was a body-nourishing pill. His eyes shone brightly. With this pill, he decided to immediately cultivate a new martial art, dragon bone art. But that meager reward was nothing, compared to the 90,000 tael debt hanging over his head. Only 1 month, 15 years old, penniless. Where would he get 90,000 taels of gold to pay? The 90,000 tael gamble had been placed. The next move of the reborn war god will be revealed next time. 90,000 taels of gold. A looming debt, due in just 1 month. Yet that night, someone knocked on the Wang Manor's door. 2 strange visitors, reeking of rust and forge fire. They were the Zhang clan elders, the capital's renowned blacksmiths. Seeing their opponent was just a young lad, they were stunned. You are Wang Chong? They proposed buying back the Hyderabad or shipment, shouting a compensation price. 1,000 taels of gold. He burst out laughing. 1,000 taels wasn't even pocket change. The Hyderabad or contract, I'm not selling. He simply raised 3 fingers, stating a figure that silenced them. 300 taels of gold per block of ore. Triple what they expected. The Zhang clan's eyes widened. Impossible, he calmly replied. I'm not joking. He declared, just by selling a few Usi weapons, he could easily gather 90,000 taels of gold. The Zhang clan left in a huff, threatening they'd return in a month, and the price better be different. He merely smiled. 1 month remained. He took the body-nourishing pill granted by Prince Song and began cultivating a lost art. It was the dragon bone art, a dragon bone refining technique, once exclusive to the imperial family, forbidden to outsiders. He practiced dragon breath fist, his body coiling like a dragon, his footsteps leaving 7 marks, aligned with the Big Dipper. Strangely, this time the medicinal power dissolved, incredibly smoothly, as if someone was secretly transforming his body. 3 days later, an invisible barrier within him shattered. I've succeeded. At 15, he broke through to the 4th stage of Origin Chi, something he'd never achieved in his previous life. As he rejoiced, killing intent surged from behind him. A small fist tore through the air. Big brother, take this punch. He dodged sideways by a hair's breadth. It was his sister's sneak attack, her eyes wide, amazed by his lightning-fast reflexes. Just then, his friend Wei rushed over with news. He'd secretly recruited 12 master blacksmiths. They all headed to a secret forge in the western suburbs, a forge fueled by a scorching lava flow. He poured out several pitch-black Hyderabad ore pieces and commanded. For 12 hours, the forge fire must never die. Then he gave a counterintuitive order. The heat is too high. Lower it below 1500 degrees. The smiths protested loudly. Who lowers the fire when forging iron? Too hot, and this or would just burn to scrap. At the same time at the border, a renowned general of the Yao clan, Yao Guangyi, donned his armor, mounted his horse, and harbored grand ambitions. He gritted his teeth. Whether I can sow discord between the Song and Wang clans, it all depends on this battle. 5 days later, the first batch emerged from the forge. For Usi steel ingots, emitting a strange blue flame from within. The smiths lifted them, astonished. So heavy, the iron content is unbelievably high. They'd never seen anything like it. He then unleashed another groundbreaking technique, removing all the forge fire, burning only pine branches, keeping the heat below 300 degrees. The smiths again protested loudly. He cut them short. This is called cold forging. Just do as I say. To enhance the steel's quality, he hired his own sister to strike each ingot 3,000 times, borrowing her divine strength. Seeing the gold, her eyes lit up, and she shouted a price. 200 taels, not a single tael less. He reluctantly nodded. Deal. 10 days later, news from the border shook the entire capital, and it concerned his father. Yao Guangyi abandoned his camp, leading his army to approach closely, right where his father's troops were stationed. A dangerous trap. With the 2 armies side by side, the world would assume the Wang clan colluded with the Yao clan. A calamity of clan annihilation would loom. But exactly one day before the invaders arrived, his father unexpectedly retreated 50 li, observing from a distance. Thus, Yao Guangyi's scheme of discord became a joke. He played himself, suffering a crushing defeat in his own specialty. At Prince Song's manor, he slammed the table. "Haha! Splendid! As long as the Wang clan stands, what do I have to fear?" But the strategist Lu frowned. His father was known for his integrity. How could he have foreseen this dangerous move? He uttered a sentence that startled Prince Song. "Has your highness forgotten? The Wang clan still has a third young master." Prince Song was shaken. Impossible! A 15-year-old, seeing through a border scheme? He resolved to meet the boy. At the gilded Prince Chi's manor, a furious outburst erupted. "Absurd! Yao Guangyi, you've disappointed me greatly." Meanwhile, Yao Guangyi, dazed on his way back, kept asking one question. Where exactly did I lose? Back at the camp, his father hosted a feast for his troops, but remained bewildered. Chonger, how on earth did he know? That afternoon, he returned to the manor, just as he called mother. He froze. The main hall was packed with relatives. His mother rushed to embrace him, tears welling in her eyes. "Chonger, you've finally grown up. You understand things now." Sitting in the middle of the hall was the person he feared most. His eldest uncle, his face stern, began to interrogate him. "Your father said the retreat was your doing. Is that true?" He looked straight ahead, nodding. "It was me." His eldest aunt interjected. "Today, you are a great hero of the Wang clan." This interrogation was grandfather Zhou Gong's idea. He began to recount the full story, sincerely befriending Ma Zhu, only to be betrayed and framed by him. His abduction of a civilian girl in broad daylight was instigated by Yao Feng. The entire hall fell silent upon hearing this. Following Yao Feng, he accidentally overheard the plot to harm his father at Wanhe Tower, and then acted to foil it. His eldest uncle rarely offered praise but said, "To think of using Ma Zhu, you do have some brains, after all." But he pressed on, "What about the secret border matter? Did you also overhear that?" He uttered a sentence that made the entire hall hold its breath. "I didn't overhear this. I deduced it." He unrolled a map and reasoned. Yao's failure in the capital meant he'd act at the border, right at his father's camp. The entire hall was stunned. He continued his analysis. Yao Guangyi's only option was to use the Hu barbarians. If so, he'd surely rush out of the capital. Indeed, news arrived. He had left the capital, rushing straight to the border. The entire hall was shaken. Then he made a shocking prediction. Old Master Yao will likely soon come to grandfather to seek peace. He explained. The Yao clan had to quell, not the Wang clan's anger, but His Majesty's displeasure. He looked at his eldest uncle, delivering the final blow. "I heard, eldest uncle, you're arranging a position for cousin?" His eldest uncle shot up, a chill running down his spine. The boy had won over the entire clan. Would the Yao clan seek peace? Find out next time. The 15-year-old boy's prophecy stunned the entire clan, and just days later every word came true. Grand Uncle galloped to the Ministry of War, flipping through the personnel ledger. His cousin's name was already marked. Turns out the Yao clan secretly laid a trap, using the transfer order to lure his cousin back, waiting to strike. Luckily, the boy warned him in time. Grand Uncle broke into a cold sweat, striking out his son's name. "Lear, I almost doomed you." That same night, at the Four Directions Inn, an old man with white hair and beard, leaning on a dragon-head staff, slowly rose. His aura surged like a tide, shaking the entire courtyard as servants knelt. Old Master Yao, patriarch of the Yao clan. He sighed. This time, the Wang clan has a master assisting them. Then he humbled himself, going to seek peace with Old Man Zhou. That very night, the two clans made peace. Grand Uncle even pushed for his cousin's promotion. The boy's prediction, not a single error. But amidst the gathering, a boom echoed in his head, the chilling voice he'd heard in his dying moments. Host awakened, title granted, the struggler against fate. The voice vanished. His face went pale. That night, he locked his door, muttering the name again. A line of text appeared, 50 points of fate energy awarded. He suddenly understood. A mysterious power had secretly altered him. No wonder his cultivation progressed so smoothly. Before his eyes, the meteor that had once claimed his life shrank, becoming a fist-sized stone, the stone of fate. The system's voice echoed coldly. Fate is held by no one. He was stunned. So I am a child of fate? You will never know the price you'll pay. A warning that sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, layers of white silken nets surged from all directions, constricting him. It was the world's power, punishing the reborn. The system declared, by all rights he should be dead. This stone only granted him a mere year of life. To live on, he had to gather enough fate energy. The system warned, first punishment in 9 days. 9 days. A death clock began ticking, succeed, and grow stronger. Fail, and be annihilated body and soul. He spent points to refine his root bones. Blood exchange? There's even this? His bones cracked and his prime chi surged to 4.5 stages. His power surpassed even a 9th stage cultivator. He gritted his teeth. To wear the crown, one must bear its weight. Only one task remained. The debt of 90,000 taels of gold still hung over him, with the month's end fast approaching. In a cave west of the suburbs, his friend Wei excitedly held up a 3-foot-long, black sword blank. The obsidian steel weapon is finally forged. He pointed to 2 grooves on the sword. These are blood troughs, made specifically for killing. He swung it once, and the sword cleaved the rock wall. But this was only a semi-finished product, with 2 final steps remaining. Engraving inscriptions and fire tempering, his biggest trump card. He sought help from his cousin, who knew noble families. Unexpectedly, upon meeting, she snarled, "What about the 8 Gods Pavilion incident?" He felt struck by lightning, breaking into a sweat. Fortunately, she only knew he owed 200 taels, not the true amount. He muttered to himself, "Isn't it 1,700? The lender concealed the debt, planning to squeeze him later. He gave her a Western eyelash curler, and she happily kept silent. 3 days later, the sword was engraved with power inscriptions. As he gripped the hilt, his aura surged from the 4th stage to the 5th. Now came the life or death step, fire tempering. He sent everyone away, piled up pine branches and waited for dawn. The world only knew to quench steel in cold water, a method that ruined it. His fire tempering technique was 7 years ahead of its time. Dawn arrived. He buried the sword in glowing embers, carefully reading the flame's color. A single degree off and the sword would be ruined. When the flame turned crimson like a berry, he plunged the sword into a groove of brownish-yellow oil. Black smoke billowed up. The smoke cleared, and silver light erupted like a flood dragon soaring skyward. Success! The world's first true obsidian steel sword. His friend Wei and his sister rushed in, stunned. It's beautiful and terrifying. It was the king of cold weapons. Elsewhere, 2 Shindoku monks anxiously awaited news. One sighed, "Let's give him 3 more days." Meanwhile, the Zhang clan was smug, certain the boy had no way to raise 90,000 taels and would soon owe breach of contract fees. Suddenly, news broke. In front of the Azure Phoenix Tower, someone was selling a sword, 600 taels apiece, gold. Strangely, the sword was wrapped in black cloth, only for purchase, no viewing, no touching. The crowd scoffed. His friend Wei worried, "Is this really okay?" The boy simply replied, "Don't worry, we'll definitely gather enough." The secret lay in the location. The Azure Phoenix Tower was right next to the Imperial Palace gates, where the Imperial Guards often stopped for tea during shift changes. Alcohol was forbidden in the palace. The Imperial Guard commanders, from illustrious backgrounds, were sword fanatics and spent money without hesitation. Nowhere in the realm were there richer patrons. This strange move only he had targeted, the sword that runs through the heavens. On the first day, sword-forging clans flocked to the stall. The young attendant firmly stated, "The sword is only for purchase. No viewing, no touching." When asked who the owner was, the attendant insisted, "I don't know." A furious man yelled, "What a cheap trick for fame." The clans burst into laughter and left, even shooing away curious onlookers. He merely sipped his tea. "I still have a use for them." But in the crowd, an Imperial Guard commander quietly stroked his chin, eyes fixed on the sword, full of interest. On the second day, the price doubled, 1,200 taels of gold, and it was only sold for 1 hour each day. Elder Chong of the Chong clan was stunned. 1,200 taels? Are they mad? Everyone thought it was a joke. Only the Zhang clan was startled. The person behind it, it turned out, was the close friend of the Wang clan's young master. On the third day, the price doubled again, 2,400 taels. The crowd roared. "This guy is truly insane." That afternoon, a bearded merchant from the western regions appeared, a sword and saber fanatic, all the way from Tiaoji. He drew his saber, a flash of cold light, cleaving a flying silk scarf in two. It can cut a hair blown by the wind. Then he entered the tower. At the same time, the 2 Shindoku monks found him. He smiled. "Masters, already restless?" He reassured them. "As for the 90,000 taels of gold, I'll gather it for you soon." Then he led them to the Azure Phoenix Tower. Seeing the price of 2,400 taels, the 2 monks were shaken, their worries gone. He secretly chuckled. Good thing they don't speak the same language. Because listing a high price didn't mean it would sell. Imperial guards circled, merchants circled. Yet no one had bought it. The price kept doubling daily. 600, 1,200, 2,400. Tomorrow it would surge to 4,800. He was racing against 2 death clocks. 90,000 taels of gold, and 9 days until punishment. Next time, the reveal. A sword, its price doubled every night. 600, 1,200, 2,400. The whole capital held its breath. It was the Wuxi sword, wrapped in black cloth at the Azure Phoenix Tower. No one dared buy it until the troublemaker arrived. His friend, Wei, rushed out, drenched in sweat. "Someone's here to cause trouble." Last night, a Western region merchant, Mo Zaid, came to the tower, praised Central Plains blades, then drew his own, demanding a duel. The stubborn man insisted on hanging his blade in the tower, causing a ruckus. The Honglu Temple's laws forbade Wei Hao from acting. Wang Sung stepped in, reassuring. "If the sky falls, I'll hold it up." Mo Zaid was stunned. The sword's owner was just a boy. Wei Hao vehemently refused. Wang Sung simply uttered 2 words. "Agreed." The entire room fell silent. Wei Hao pulled him to the next room, panicking. "You're insane."
Wang Chong merrily smiled.
He explained the Western custom. When buying blades, you duel, whoever's sword cuts the others, the loser buys the better one. Mo Zaid drew his precious blade, its cold gleam chilling the room. Wang Sung flicked his wrist. A wooden table corner fell. "Good blade." He changed the wager. "If you win, I'll pay the listed price. If you lose, 1,200 taels. Montag-Zeide happily nodded. But he had to wait 7 days. He asked, "What's the Iron Mountain in front of the gate for?" Wang Sung evaded, "Wait 7 days, you'll find out." The man hung his blade in the tower, exactly as Wang Sung intended. Outside the tower, Wei Hao fumed over the doubled price. Wang Sung just smiled. A small sacrifice for a big gain, casting a brick to attract jade. Wang Sung asserted he can't win. He'd secretly tapped his pinky. The blade was sharp, but the steel was ordinary. As he left, the price immediately soared to 4,800 taels. The first east-west blade duel, right in the heart of Great Tang. The Chong family immediately sent their clan-guarding sword to the tower. His disciple objected. He glared. "Do you think I'll lose?" The 4 great sword-forging families, sword towers, and Western merchants all sent their precious blades. Teach that fellow a harsh lesson. In the crowd, a bearded Ruran smith secretly swore. I'll show the world who the true master smith is. He returned to his forge on the desolate mountain, surrounded by broken swords, and forged a 5-foot broadsword all night. In just one day, over 20 famous swords hung all over the tower gate. Then 3 figures arrived, showing their tokens. We are the Imperial Guards. Wang Chong went to the top floor. For the first time, he faced the Imperial Guards. Their aura of authority instilled fear in ordinary people. He remembered his past life. The Imperial Guards later rotted, breaking at the first clash. He lost both his aunt and uncle. He recognized the lightning bolt scar on his forehead. Zhao Fengqin, future Grand Commander, the #1 Wu Si collector. He secretly rejoiced he'd hooked a whale. Zhao Fengqin demanded to open the black cloth, offering no less than 8,000 taels. Wang Chong flatly refused. Absolutely not. His rules: no looking, no touching, no opening the black cloth. He retorted, if you look and aren't satisfied, will you still pay 8,000 taels? Zhao Fengqin was speechless. He declared, no looking, no touching, 4,800. Take it now. Then he flicked his sleeve and left. His subordinate suggested stealing the sword. Zhao Fengqin dismissed it. He unstrapped his silver longsword, hanging it up, joining the wager. He immediately understood. Zhao's mortal enemy was Huang Xiaotian, who'd suppressed him for 7 years, amidst an Imperial Guard commander selection. So Zhao needed a weapon to suppress Huang Xiaotian. An Imperial Guard chased after him, asking about the Iron Mountain. He smiled. You guess. Back at the manor, he trained diligently, focused on 2 major tasks: the Kunwu camp's upcoming recruitment, and the Wang family tolerates no incompetence. At the Duke of Su's manor, Su Bai lay on a rattan chair, twirling a blue jade token, plotting. He'd allied with the Yao family and Prince Qi. He ordered, in 7 days, gather the young masters with debt notes to demand payment. Give the Wang family a painful fall. The price still doubled daily. 9,600, then 19,200 taels, the first time a sword exceeded 10,000 taels. Wei Hao panicked, realizing, how could this be? It's already 19,200 taels, a move no one had ever used. The Zhang family secretly arrived, worried. We'll have to pay over 50,000 taels. He calmly replied, do you 2 think I'll lose? On the 7th day, the sky was clear. He donned a long blue robe, looking mature, and rode to the tower. The crowd was like a sea. Wei Hao's face was pale, pacing back and forth. Seeing him, he felt a burden lifted. Excellent. You've finally arrived. He stammered. Have you thought this through? Over 30 blades. He'd hidden this from his family. Wang Chong reassured him. The 3rd floor was packed. For great families, sword towers, merchants, Imperial Guards. Shopkeeper Luo, I hope you can afford 19,000 taels. He countered, gentlemen, have your 1,200 taels been prepared? Then he walked to the railing. The crowd below erupted. He asked if anyone else would buy. The crowd burst into laughter. Huang Jiao proposed a literary duel. Each family reports its sharpness. How many li into iron? One family boasted 4.5 li, another 5. Gung Jin's blood-dripping sword shattered both. He merely found it amusing. He interrupted. No need to argue, no need for such trouble. Wei Hao leaped over the railing, clutching the Wu Si sword, and struck directly at the Iron Mountain. A sky-shattering clang. In the dust, over 20 blades on the tower gate simultaneously snapped, their tips embedding in the ground. Then the man-height Iron Mountain split in 2, its cut surface smooth as a mirror. The crowd erupted. He split the Iron Mountain in half. The Zhang family was aghast. A 15-year-old, how could he forge such a sword? Then they felt a pang of dread. Their contract might be in trouble. All the severed blades were famous precious swords. Before the Wu Si's edge, they all broke. Now the Wu Si finally revealed itself. A 3-foot-long sword, its surface silver like mercury plating, with strange flowing patterns. It cut dozens of famous swords without a scratch. Its scabbard was inlaid with agate, coral, and malachite forming a winter plum branch. The gemstones alone were worth over 600 taels. Mo Zaid sprang up. What a sword! The Central Plains has such sharp blades. His famous blade was also severed. He was determined to buy it. Zhao looked at the Iron Mountain. On the battlefield, it would cleave both man and armor in two. For him, this was his hope to suppress Huang Xiaotian. Suddenly, the Ruran smith leaped up, snatched his 5-foot broadsword, and with the force of Mount Tai pressing down, struck at Wei Hao. Wei Hao instinctively raised the Wuxi sword to parry. Clang! The 5-foot broadsword snapped in half, its tip flying over a dozen zhang. The Ruran smith was aghast. Impossible! I forged swords for 10 years. How can there be a sword harder than mine? Then he spat blood and fell backward. Wei Hao raised the sword high, proudly. This is the sword my brother forged. The #1 sword under heaven. Does anyone else wish to try? Wang Sung declared, the wager is concluded, 1,200 taels each. None of you will renege, right? No one dared utter a sound. He asked shopkeeper Luo to collect all the wager money. Just hand it to me. Then both jumped straight down from the 3rd floor. A bidding war erupted. Zhao 20,000 taels. Mo Zaid 25,000. Zhao again 30,000. Who will claim the sword? Revealed next time. The price soared to 40,000 gold taels. The hall held its breath. Then he turned, dropping a chilling line. Stop bidding. I won't sell it to any of you. The 2 bidders froze. Why? He shrugged. The rule was clear, the sword was advertised for 7 days, no touching, no viewing. The time is up. Green Phoenix Tower erupted in shouts of regret. He calmly led his friend Wei into the carriage and departed. Inside, he calculated 32 swords, 1,200 each, over 38,000 gold taels total. He explained to Wei, sell them now for 40,000, and later 2 swords will drop. This is scarcity marketing. As the carriage rolled, a scruffy man rushed out, blocking the door, extending a dirty hand. Lend me some money. The man flattered, young master, with your noble looks, you'll surely be a pillar of the nation. That voice, he remembered it for a lifetime. This ruined man would later shake the court. He once gritted his teeth. One day, I'll make you all kneel at my feet. The man asked for 100 taels. He pulled out 1,000 gold taels, pressing it into his hand. No need to repay. Take it. The carriage didn't return to the manor. He visited the 2 then dock monks, pouring out 37,000 gold taels. This is 37,000 taels total. The 2 monks rejoiced, having already written a letter recommending him home. He left 300 ore blocks for them to keep. The 2 monks swore, the ore with us is guaranteed safe. Now he had 2 more top masters guarding the ore. Simultaneously, across the capital, sword-forging clans were stirred. Half of the Iron Mountain cleaved by the O2 sword was brought back by the Chong family. The cut was mirror-smooth, perfectly flat. The Chong patriarch was stunned. This craftsmanship surpassed the era. He gritted his teeth. Bring out my treasured sword. The clan's treasured sword struck the Iron Mountain. Halfway, it stopped, emitting several piercing sounds. The sword body was scratched. The patriarch was shaken. It only cut halfway. Then he roared, "Find that kid!" At the Zhang Manor, the Grand Elder stayed up all night, taking a finger-sized Hyderabad or piece, forging a dagger to test it. But it lacked his secret forging technique. The Zhang family concluded, we must maintain good relations with the Wang family, with Wang Sung. At dawn, in the back courtyard, he practiced iron steps, his twin fists exploding. The air around him swirled like a tide. He dual-cultivated heavy fist and dragon bone art. He realized, combining heavy fist with dragon bone art, cultivation is faster. With one punch, the rockery shattered. He was astonished. Just one punch, and I can smash mountain rock. At 15, he reached the 5th stage of Prime Chi, a cultivation level he never touched in his previous life. After breakfast, he went out alone, to handle an important matter, to find someone from his memories. That was Su Zhengchen, the legendary old marshal, a veteran of 3 dynasties, even older than his grandfather. In his previous life, when chaos erupted, he single-handedly blocked 10,000 foreign cavalry, sacrificing his life for his people. He died, taking the court's #1 secret art with him. The senior who passed on the cultivation once lamented, Su Zhengchen's ultimate art is lost forever. He knew one unique chance. Late in life, the old marshal disguised himself as an old man playing chess, under a 1,000-year-old pagoda tree. In Ghost Pagoda Tree District, he found a golden-laid chessboard. No one was there, only a child guarding it. The child handed him a black chess piece. Grandpa said, "Give this piece to whoever comes. If they pass, he'll appear. Only one piece, one move. Place it right, he appears. Wrong, you're out forever." This was a chess game testing military strategy. The safe move was to defend a corner, stalling. But to surrender and await death was never his style. In his previous life, he was the Grand Marshal who commanded armies. He pressed the black piece into an unexpected spot, then left. That evening, his uncle Li Lin rushed over, asking, "Sunger, do you have the world's #1 sword?" It turned out Zhao Fengchen, through his uncle's superior, was willing to spend 42,000 to buy the sword, and the seller was him. He encouraged his uncle, "Uncle, do you want to be a grand commander?" Then advised, "Don't switch sides, stick with Zhao Fengchen." He drew the O2 sword, its cold energy swirling through the room. Then he instructed, "No need for 40,000, sell it at the old price, 35,000. Everywhere, people sought the O2 sword's origin, but found no traces. The sword suddenly became infinitely precious. On a mountain outside the city, a man in a white mask, leading Western region masters, discussed how to steal the sword and ore. The leader was Mo Jida, the merchant who just lost the bid for the sword, right there at Green Phoenix Tower. The next morning, before the manor gate, a 7-foot man knelt prostrate, offering a broken sword above his head. It was the man who rushed down to strike Wei, whose 4-foot sword had been broken by the O2 sword. He pleaded, "Please accept me as your disciple. I only wish to learn your sword-forging art." He looked up. "My name is Tuoba Gyuan." He was shaken. In this future life, this was the great Tang's #1 blacksmith. He immediately accepted him. "I have accepted your request." The man kowtowed in gratitude, the floor echoing with thuds. He tried to help the man up, but couldn't pull him, only then realizing this disciple's strength far surpassed his own. He secretly returned to Ghost Pagoda Tree District. On the golden chessboard, there was now an additional white piece. The old marshal had made his move. He had passed the test. The child guarding the chess pieces was named Jianjian, the old marshal's most beloved pageboy in his later years. He promised Jianjian, "If you can make the old man laugh, I'll reward you with a silver ingot every day." Only because he carried the bloodline of a great Sui princess. No matter his achievements, that bloodline remained his fatal weakness. In another corner, Yao Feng, filled with hatred, swept everything off the table, hissing, "I will make the Wang family turn to ashes and smoke." His father had ordered to temporarily let go of the Wang family, but he gritted his teeth. "I can still strike at your little boy." Not daring to show his face, he quietly left the manor, hiring a formidable assassin to secretly deal a fatal blow to him. That afternoon, 35,000 gold taels were fully delivered. His uncle was now completely impressed. He left half for his uncle to keep. He took over 17,000 gold taels to find his friend Wei, asking him to purchase provisions and transport them back to the dock. His friend Wei rushed out, lowering his voice. "I found the person you've been looking for, but in a place no one would expect." Not on the official roster, Wei said, but in death row. The person's name was Zhang Munian, a destitute minor official, accused of embezzling 20,000 taels. Wei advised, Getting involved with such a person will harm the entire Wang family. Neither the Wang nor Wei families could get the person out of death row. He looked into the distance. It seems there's only one way left. Find Prince Song. The plan to save Zhang Munian was set in motion. He sent scouts to Prince Song, then bided his time. But that plan was put on hold because the very next morning, a different calamity knocked right at the Wang Manor's gates. At the Eight Deities Pavilion, Su Bai lounged. Raising his cup with a cold laugh, Duke Su's son was laying a trap. He snarled at the young masters. Debts must be paid. Anyone who didn't collect was disrespecting him. His scheme. Were owed over 1,000 taels of gold by Wang Sung. He collected the IOUs to publicly shame the Wang family. Someone timidly reported, at the Azure Phoenix Pavilion, a swordsmith sold a blade for 40,000 taels, also named Wang Sung. Su Bai scoffed. Just a coincidence of names. He refused to believe that kid had such skill. That morning, as Wang Sung stepped out, the entire street erupted. Carriages from all directions swarmed and surrounded him. Shouts echoed. Wang Sung, pay your debts. He merely smiled. He'd already seen through Su Bai's scheme. Su Bai leisurely stepped down, flaunting the officially registered IOUs. Then, from both sides of the carriage, 2 Grand Court officials emerged. Wang Sung's face paled. By inviting Grand Court officials, Su Bai wasn't just demanding payment. He wanted to make a huge scene. An official coldly declared, even the Son of Heaven is subject to the same laws as commoners, even if you are the 9th Duke's eldest grandson. Just then, his mother heard the commotion and rushed out. Su Bai deliberately announced loudly, this is 2% interest. The principal debt was 1,700 plus interest. It was almost 3,000 taels. His mother was stunned, nearly collapsing. She gritted her teeth and demanded, is what young Master Su said true or not? He bowed his head, Mother, it is true. But he reassured her. The money wasn't spent, but invested. Su Bai laughed loudly, dismissing it as a lie. Just then, a Wang family guard stepped out, throwing a gold ingot. Isn't it just 1,000 taels? Take it. Then he lifted a chest, several hundred caddies heavy, and let it drop. The chest shattered, spilling 5,000 taels of gold. The whole street held its breath. Su Bai's eyes widened, stammering, impossible. The Wang family never engaged in business. Cornered, Su Bai pointed at the gold chest, yelling, I suspect the Wang family of corruption and bribery. Then he turned to the second carriage, calling out a silver-haired censor in purple robes, wearing a fish tally. Wang Sung's face paled. Grand Court officials would only imprison him, but a censor targeted the entire Wang family. The censor spoke slowly, word by word. This matter, I fear I must report it, to the court officials and even His Majesty. His mother's face turned ashen, gripping her son's hand tightly. With a censor at their gates, tomorrow the entire court would gossip about the Wang family. But Wang Sung didn't flinch. He raised his head and retorted, the Wang family can't accumulate wealth, but does that mean I can't? The crowd was stunned. Who dared openly contradict a censor? He asserted that gold he earned himself. He was about to reveal the secret of the Azure Phoenix Pavilion when a shout echoed, dust billowed, and a convoy of carriages charged forward. The carriages were carved with green bronze dragons, tigers, and qilin, the insignia of the Imperial Guard generals, personal bodyguards of the emperor. The arrogant generals shouted to clear the way. Even the censor had to step aside, for no civil official could control the Imperial Guard. Everyone thought a great disaster was upon them, but unexpectedly, those fierce generals turned sharply, bowing low before Wang Sung. They vied to buy the Wuxi sword. I have 50,000 taels of gold in my carriage, young master, just take it. Some carried boxes of pearls and gems, asking to have them inlaid on the sword, respectfully calling him the greatest swordsmith under heaven. The entire family, and all the young masters, were dumbfounded. Su Bai was skeptical. Are you mistaken? Are you really looking for Wang Sung? The generals cursed him out. You don't even recognize the greatest swordsmith under heaven. Su Bai's face turned green. Wang Chong invited the generals into the manor, ordering someone to settle all the IOUs. The young masters, having been paid, turned to curse Su Bai. Su Bai tried to sneak away. Wang Chong shouted to stop him. He didn't need to lift a finger, he just asked the two grand court officials. What is the crime for slandering and falsely accusing a high-ranking court official, according to the law? His father was a great general, his granduncle a high-ranking official. The two grand court officials themselves replied. Falsely accusing a high-ranking official means imprisonment in the heavenly dungeon, 100 strokes, and exile to the border. The censor quickly tried to smooth things over for him, turning to speak carefully with his mother, thinking women were easier to persuade. But his mother firmly replied, the court has its laws, just carry out whatever punishment is deserved. So Su Bai was escorted into the carriage, yelling as he went, Wang Chong, I will not forgive you. With the Su Bai matter settled, he invited the Imperial Guard generals to discuss buying swords, then revealed a brilliant strategy. He didn't sell them widely. Each month, he would forge only one unique blade, then hold an auction. Each month I will hold an auction. Whoever bids highest, buys it. To participate, one had to pay a deposit in advance. Each deposit was 20,000 taels of gold. The generals vied with each other. If I can't buy a wuxi sword, I'll die. Over 30 generals, each paying 20,000, with just a few slips of paper, he collected 600,000 taels of gold. The manor servants witnessed it and were astonished to the point of fainting. Our Wang family, from now on, will also become immensely wealthy. That night, he told his mother everything. She was touched. From now on, whatever you need to do it boldly. But he didn't stop there. He sought out the two Shindu monks, proactively raising the price. They were stunned. Why pay so much? From 300 taels per block, I'm raising it to 400. He aimed for an entire mountain range of Hyderabad or. His ambition was not small, to equip an entire army with wuxi swords, to one day turn the tide of war. But the divine sword's fame, along with 600,000 taels of gold, attracted dark eyes from the far western regions. That night, under the moon, masked assassins from Diaoji snuck in, hissing, "We must seize the greatest divine sword of the Central Plains." They snuck straight towards the treasury. Wang Chong gave a cold laugh. If you think the Wang Manor is a place you can enter and exit freely, you're gravely mistaken. Just as they were about to enter the treasury, a roar erupted. This is young Master Wang's manor, who dares trespass? It was the two Shindu monks, whom he had treated generously yesterday, now repaying their kindness, blowing away the assassins like kites with severed strings. But a few rushed straight into the study. A guard shouted, "Young master, be careful," then threw a sword, deflecting one blade. His martial arts were completely lost, he had to train from scratch, but his Grand Marshal's vision from his previous life remained. He leaned back and flipped, executing a graceful black tortoise shell move, completely dodging the killer blow, leaving the two assassins stunned. The curved blade still glinted. The midnight bloodbath was far from over. How will Wang Chong escape? Revealed next time. That night, the Wang Manor lay shrouded in darkness. Then, sickle blades sliced through the air. A masked squad in black scaled the walls. They were Diaoji assassins, come thousands of miles from the western regions, determined to steal the divine sword Wu Si and take his life. Wang Chong, only at 5th stage origin Qi, was no match for a pack of 8th stage killers. Two family guards bravely stepped forward. But he possessed something they didn't, memories of his past life.
He sao Tết thành chiếc name, tiêu thạch vọng nguyệt.
The guards dodged the fatal blow, narrowly escaping death. The assassins froze, utterly bewildered. Realizing he was the interloper, they changed targets. "Kill him!" The men in black roared, closing in on him. Wang Chong daringly charged, swinging the Wu Si sword to cleave one in half. The others panicked. "It's that sword! Be careful. They threw smoke bombs and poisonous smoke filled the courtyard. The 2 guards collapsed, the remaining 3 chased him down. A hair's breadth from death. From a room 100 zhang away, a black iron arrow, wreathed in smoke, tore through the night. With me here, none of them shall escape. The 3 8th-stage assassins fell instantly. The archer was the blacksmith. The blacksmith, it turned out, was a hidden master of archery. After reviving the 2 guards, he quietly returned to his study. As he pushed the door open, he froze, the window was closed, and the blueprint for the 7-foot saber was gone. Someone had snuck in. A cold blade pressed against his back, right over his heart. Don't scream. They're nowhere near as fast as my sword. A woman's voice. It was a Dongying female assassin, her cultivation surpassing 9th stage. Her aura melted into the darkness, impossible to detect. Outside, the blacksmith and 2 Shindu monks came to report. She forced him to politely send them away, warning him, utter a word and die. He calmly gave orders, hiding a secret message in his instructions. Place it on the weapon rack in the corner of the storeroom, where no such rack existed. Then he pretended to surrender. You win, take the sword. Hoping to make her drop her guard. Suddenly, he shot a smoke bomb onto the floor, held an antidote in his mouth, and rolled to dodge the fatal sword strike. Huh? You're playing tricks. In the smoke, she swung 3 short swords, blocking the doorway, then transformed into a phantom and glided forward. That was the ghostly stride. She pressed the 7-foot saber blueprint against him, asking him, the Great Tang's foremost blacksmith, can you forge this saber? He raised his head, without a hint of hesitation. Believe it or not, if I say I can, then I naturally can. She intended to take him to forge the saber, but he countered, striking at her vital point. You practice the ghostly stride, don't you? The deeper you train, the closer you are to death. Struck at her weak point, her face turned pale. He seized the opportunity, escaping through the window. Once in the courtyard, she was shot by the blacksmith's arrow and blocked by the 2 monks. Alone against 2, she still repelled them both. Brat, this isn't over. Uttering a threat, she transformed into a phantom and vanished into the night, leaving everyone shuddering. He realized, this person was not one of Subai's. She didn't even recognize the Wu Si sword in my hand. She aimed for his life, not the sword. This vendetta, he feared, was orchestrated by the hidden Yao Feng. He immediately set up defenses throughout the manor, requested imperial guards to patrol, called his sister home, and assigned masters to guard his mother. But as he stepped through the room's threshold, heaven and earth shattered, an invisible torrent from the cosmos crashed down upon him. A voice echoed in his ear, the world's shackles, first descent. His body glowed with a golden aura, then shattered. His strength drained away, he knelt, sweating profusely. Strangely, the 2 monks outside the room were completely unaware. So such a huge commotion. Only I can perceive it? This was the price for one granted another life. The entire world saw him as an enemy. Luckily, protected by the Stone of Destiny, he would otherwise have been crushed to dust. Having withstood that blow, his entire body was tempered. His bones became as hard as steel. He exclaimed, Leopard Bones 2nd stage. A few days later, the imperial court was in an uproar over the Grand Consort incident. The entire court split into 2 factions, fiercely contending. He knew Prince Song's opposition would surely anger the sacred emperor, leading to the Wang clan's decline. To save his clan, he could only rely on his grandfather's longevity. For 3 months, he trained diligently in dragon bone art, his movements coiling like a flood dragon, falling leaves swirling around him without dropping. Then the heavenly gate burst open. I finally reached 6th stage origin chi. From now on, he could absorb the origin chi of heaven and earth. The 2 Shindu monks praised him repeatedly. Young master's comprehension is truly profound. Through arm fist, mastered in one go. Just then, his sister rushed in, urging him. Grandfather's birthday, mother said we must go to the 4 Directions Pavilion right now. The entire clan set off to celebrate his grandfather's 70th birthday. In the carriage, his mother whispered, Speak less, observe more, Don't cause me trouble. The Four Directions Pavilion appeared, a square courtyard, several times larger than a general's mansion, a great Tang forbidden area, strictly guarded by imperial guards. As they got off the carriage, his harsh aunt's carriage arrived, and she sneered at his mother. Your father-in-law's birthday, you must be so troubled. His mother found it inconvenient to argue, so he immediately interjected. You are an elder, yet you arrive so late, how thoughtless. Inside the carriage, his eldest uncle yelled at both sides to be silent. Today is father's grand birthday. No one is allowed to argue here. His eldest aunt and uncle arrived, greeting him warmly like their own child, because he had once helped his uncle change positions and get promoted. Only his cousin Wang Li, with a sullen face, walked away first. For years, he had always lost to his elder brother Wang Fu. The entire clan was led into the Zhiji pavilion. On two large chairs, his white-haired grandparents sat majestically, awaiting their descendants. One by one, they offered simple longevity peaches. When it was his turn, he recited an unusual blessing. May your fortune be as vast as the eastern sea, and your longevity like the ageless southern mountain. His grandfather rarely nodded. Then he announced there was one more gift, a saber and sword. The entire hall fell silent. His grandfather had been incorruptible his entire life, and giving a saber and sword on a birthday was taboo. His mother turned pale, and his eldest uncle yelled at him to retreat immediately. But his grandfather unexpectedly asked, Why give me a saber and sword? He knelt, explaining, I offer you a heavy sword. A heavy sword has no edge. Great skill needs no flourish. That heavy sword spoke for him. Though retired, he was still a crucial minister safeguarding the empire. His grandfather opened the black cloth. The sword hilt was engraved with two ancient seal characters. He looked up. This sword is called the Scholar Official's Sword. His eldest uncle shook his head in disagreement. Grandfather's achievements shaped the land. How could two words encompass them? He criticized him for being naive at 15. He calmly cited 3 Han Dynasty scholar officials, reciting a full explanation. This sword didn't flatter his achievements, but spoke for his heart. If everyone in the world were a scholar official, what more would our great Tang have to worry about? The entire hall fell silent, deeply moved. Few knew that the old man, whom people revered as Elder Jiu, was none other than Wang Jiuling, a renowned general of the Great Tang era. He burst out laughing, and exceptionally helped him up himself. Only Sunger truly understands my heart. This scholar official's sword, I accept. The entire family gathered, unusually warm. The once cold-shouldered child had now won over the entire clan. The imperial storm, revealed next time. After presenting the sword for the birthday, Wang Chong was acknowledged by the entire clan. But the true test had only just begun. Grandpa's 70th birthday banquet was held at the Four Directions Pavilion. The whole family gathered, imperial guards strictly standing watch. Heavy armored imperial guards reported. The fourth young master has returned. That was his youngest uncle, the instructor of the Heavenly Pillar Mountain Imperial Guards. Among the elders, his youngest uncle was closest to him. He clapped his shoulder, laughing loudly. Good job, kid. But his father's family hadn't arrived yet. Suddenly, his aunt let slip a bitter remark, chilling the entire hall. Isn't there still one more in the imperial prison? His eldest uncle snapped at his wife. Enough! Haven't we caused enough trouble? His second brother was the Wang clan's taboo, imprisoned for years, though everyone knew it wasn't his fault. Grandpa flared up, slamming the table and roaring. All of you, get out! His face was icy, making everyone tremble. His youngest uncle sighed, telling him the family secret. The blood frenzy. It afflicted one person every other generation. When it flared up, the bloodlust controlled the entire person. Eyes bloodshot, uncontrollably frenzied. This generation, it afflicted your second brother. That's why Grandpa and Grandma always felt tormented and guilty towards him. Then he proposed a bold plan, asking his youngest uncle to find retired Imperial Guard instructors to train his army. Interfering with active instructors was a beheading offense, but those retired for over 20 years were harmless. His offer: 100,000 taels of gold per person per year. His youngest uncle was shocked. He smiled. 1,000 gold to buy a horse's bones. He knew a great chaos would erupt in 4 years. Then gold and silver would be useless. Only strength could save the clan. Outside the pavilion, carriages arrived one after another. Grandpa's former disciples, spread across north and south, holding all kinds of titles. This was Grandpa's greatest legacy. To command this network, he needed the acknowledgement of all of them. The Imperial Guard commander stepped out, calling his cousin Wang Li in first. His heart leaped, then sank. But immediately after, the commander turned back and called, "Young Master Chong." His aunt gritted her teeth. "The old man is too biased." A 15-year-old called into the council hall. It was unprecedented. He secretly rejoiced. "Finally, it's my turn." He walked around the flower and bird screen, entering the council hall, filled with dignified, white-haired elders. This was a test, one even Grandpa couldn't interfere with. Whether he was acknowledged or not was up to the elders. The elders were indifferent to him. Grandpa had him sit on a small chair in the far corner of the hall, just to listen and learn. The conversation turned to current affairs. An old minister worried. "The eastern and western Turkic Khaganates are thriving. This is no blessing for the empire. Thanks to trade, they bought all of Great Tang's refined iron. Now even their arrowheads were forged from pure steel." Another elder shook his head. "Our border ratio used to be 2 to 3, now it's only 2 to 2. They've grown visibly stronger." One elder suggested banning the export of saltpeter and iron, but his eldest uncle immediately retorted, "Ban it, and Great Tang loses its source of warhorses." His cousin Wang Li stood up, proposing an alliance between the two grand protectorates to strike a decisive blow against the Turkic Khaganates. But his eldest uncle yelled at him to sit down. "You want them to ally? How is that possible? The two protectorates were always at odds, constantly impeaching each other." Wang Li's face turned pale. He sat down in shame. No matter how good a plan, choosing the wrong people made it a joke. Suddenly, Grandpa turned to him, asking for his opinion. The entire hall was stunned. It turned out the one Grandpa was secretly promoting was the child in the far corner. He calmly spoke a sentence that shook the entire hall. "The calamity isn't in the ironware, but in the hearts of men." The most strategic old minister frowned. "Young master, please elaborate." He began. "The nomadic people of the steppes thrive once every 100 years. That's a grand trend, unchangeable by anyone. If we can't change the enemy, we can only change ourselves. The true calamity lies within the empire itself." Then he recited a frontier poem, "Who children ride horses and shoot bows at 10, while Han youths indulge in pleasure." He concluded with a chilling remark. "The Turkic Khaganates are easy to defeat, but the hearts of men are hard to conquer." The entire hall fell silent, shaken. The elders unanimously praised. "The Wang clan has produced a prodigy." The leading old minister beckoned him to sit beside him. Not stopping there, he said there was another way, to reduce the ironware reaching the Turkic Khaganates, which the imperial court would surely approve quickly. An elder in charge of military provisions immediately objected. Increasing ironware prices would make the people suffer, military expenses would rise, and powerful clans would surely oppose. He calmly asked back, "But what if we use tariffs?" The military provisions elder was bewildered. "What are tariffs?" He explained. Domestic trade of saltpeter and iron would be tax-exempt, but anyone exporting steel from Great Tang would be taxed 5-fold. Both ways were beneficial. If they gritted their teeth and bought, we'd collect a fortune. If they stopped buying, we'd cut off the enemy's steel supply. The military provisions elder's eyes widened. He slapped his thigh and laughed loudly. A 15-year-old, devising a plan that shamed all the ministers. Grandpa was deeply pleased, entrusting his eldest uncle with the tariff matter at court. A great merit awaited them. An elder curiously asked where he got the idea. He calmly replied, "Actually, I heard it from my cousin." He attributed all the credit to Wang Li. Grandpa nodded. "Lear, you must thank your younger cousin." His cousin was stunned, but still complied. The elders completely changed their view. So young, yet not greedy for credit. Yielding credit in a general's family was rare. From then on, the elders secretly considered, this child, perhaps, was the one who could inherit Grandpa's influence. Grandpa asked what the imperial court was discussing lately. His eldest uncle replied, changing protectorates to Jadushi, establishing 10 Jadushi. Upon hearing the name Jadushi, his entire body trembled. This was the root cause of chaos for the entire empire. His eldest uncle explained, a Jadushi held both military and administrative power, and had full autonomy over a border region. Worse, the prime minister even proposed, who people should be heavily used as generals because they were brave and didn't form factions. The entire group of elite old ministers nodded in agreement. Only he turned pale, no one saw the hidden danger behind it. He sprang up, interrupting, no, this absolutely cannot happen. The entire hall fell silent, shocked by his disrespect. His eldest uncle's face darkened, yelling, in front of the elders, is it your place to speak? An elder stepped forward, allowing him to speak. He argued urgently. The precedent of Jadushi must absolutely not be set. One Hu general rising would surely bring a whole pack of Hu generals. They would form a massive faction, using their military to overpower the court. The interior would be empty, like handing the sword hilt to the enemy. Then he uttered 4 words that made the entire hall explode, like a Category 12 hurricane. Regional warlordism. The entire hall roared. What? His cousin's eyes snapped open. Grandpa pushed off his chair and stood up, his beard trembling violently. Next time, revealed. The 4 words warlord seizing power had barely left his lips when the entire 4 directions hall council chamber seemed to freeze. The white-haired old officials, who had long looked down on him, were now silent with shame. Wang Chong thought to himself about his past life. The Jadushi system plunged the Great Tang into chaos, leaving behind loneliness, endless loneliness. Famous Han generals were blocked, leaving him with a dark, starless sky, a bone-deep solitude. Duke Zhou's voice trembled with emotion as he told him to withdraw, so he could figure out how to report directly to the Holy Emperor. Just as he was about to excuse himself, Old Sun sent his grandson to bow, his voice choked. Shang Jie, quickly bow to young Master Sung. Then Old Ma and Duke Hu also told their children and grandchildren to bow. The entire hall called out young Master Sung without ceasing. This was unprecedented. His grandfather's most important subordinates had finally acknowledged him. Among the children and grandchildren, a broad-shouldered youth, a head taller than him, respectfully stepped forward. Wang Chong was speechless. In his past life, this was a brother in arms, who had fallen in the final battle. He extended his hand, gripping him tightly. I am Wang Chong, good brother. In this life, I will still be a good brother. But not everyone was convinced. A young woman named Yi, with a ponytail, strode forward with a haughty look. She pointed directly at him, disdainfully. A weakling like you expects me to call you young master? She was a rare martial arts genius, sleeping only 2 hours a day, and had already reached the true martial realm. In the rock garden and bamboo grove, his cousin Wang Li blocked him, pressing, Why did you help me? He didn't change his words. Wang Li's face was cold. Don't think that just because you helped me, I'll be indebted to you. But his expression had softened. In the private room, the elders discussed him. What they valued most, Old Ma said. The boy has a fervent patriotic heart. At the same time, an imperial uncle who had gambled away all his money was dragged straight into the palace by 2 golden guard imperial guards. In the solemn jade true palace, his cousin, Consort Taijin, gripped his hand, pleading for help, her voice trembling. I am now as precarious as stacked eggs. Only you, elder brother, can save me. She had been attacked by half the court. The fiercest opposition came from Prince Song and his paternal uncle. Only Duke Zhou hadn't uttered a word. Today was his 70th birthday. She uttered venomous words. I will definitely make Prince Song and the entire Wang family die without a burial ground. At Prince Chi's manor, old Master Yao gave a faint smile. This time, There was no need to act personally. Just borrow the Holy Emperor's hand to destroy them. Meanwhile, at the Four Directions Hall, the main gate suddenly became chaotic. An arrogant white-haired old man burst straight in. It was old Duke Su, Duke Zhou's rival from his youth. Wang Chong cursed under his breath. It's that old turtle again. He couldn't hold back, calling him Old Turtle directly, hitting a raw nerve. Years ago he had hidden well, only emerging to claim credit once peace was restored. The old man's face purpled with rage, but invited in by Duke Zhou's voice, he grudgingly let it go. The young woman named Yi quietly approached, inciting Duke Su's grandchildren. A youth stepped out, pointing at him and challenging him to a duel. That was the Su family genius, nicknamed Su First Class, who had reached Qi Origin 7th stage at 16. He accepted the challenge, but demanded a wager. Want to challenge me? Fine, but you must offer a bone-tempering pill. That was the Su family's secret heirloom treasure. 3 pills could temper 1 layer of bone. Everyone's expression changed. He offered a counterprice that moved everyone. Your 1 bone-tempering pill for my black silk sword. The number 1 sword under heaven, 40 to 50,000 taels of gold per blade, priceless and unobtainable. The opponent had no way to refuse. In the arena, the Su family genius channeled the fragrant elephant art, his aura explosive like a wild elephant, distorting the very space around him. Wang Chong shot into the sky, transforming into a flood dragon, pouring all the power of his dragon bone art into one strike, heavy fist. With one move, he crushed his opponent, who collapsed like a wooden stake. Half the arena gasped. The Four Directions Hall was silent as death. Even the young woman named Yi was stunned, then haughtily walked away, still far from enough. Talk to me when you catch up. Finding a secluded spot, he swallowed the bone-tempering pill, breaking through to the 3rd layer of bone tempering. He shot like an arrow, catching a sparrow alive. Birthday guests came and went, but he noticed an unusual atmosphere. Many important ministers pulled his paternal uncle aside for a private talk. He suddenly understood. This is about Consort Taizhen. This matter was far more serious than he had imagined. In his previous life, his paternal uncle and Prince Song had backed the wrong side and were implicated. Hundreds of high officials were demoted. Just then, Prince Song arrived to pay his respects, his kingly bearing like the rising sun. His paternal uncle excitedly went to greet him. The two discussed how to prevent it. How can a father take his son's wife as a consort? That would be a great royal disgrace. Prince Song came to plead. I only hope Duke Zhou will step forward and help me. But when he left, his expression was very grim. Strategist Lu sought him out, reporting that Prince Song wished to meet. He replied, coincidentally, this junior also has a matter to request an audience with His Highness. In the rock garden and bamboo grove, Prince Song praised, Your paternal uncle has told me everything. Truly, heroes emerge from youth. He generously asked what reward he wanted. He presented a dossier, asking to save one person, the death row inmate Zhang Munian. This was the very person he had been searching for all this time. A promise he had carried for months, now finally having the chance to fulfill. A poor minor official, who embezzled 20,000 taels of gold, was imprisoned. He immediately offered to repay the sum on his behalf. Prince Song nodded. Once the gold was fully repaid, the Ministry of Justice would review the case. But he pressed. Why exactly save him? He confessed. He didn't know him at all, but asserted, this man will surely be of great use to the Great Tang in the future. After the Yao Guangyi incident, no one dared to see him as a child anymore. His Highness promised to handle it, along with a warning. Talent and wisdom used for good become good. Used for evil, they become evil. He bowed his head, committing it to memory. Prince Song was about to leave. He called out, tentatively asking, Your Highness, are you troubled by the matter of Consort Taizhen? Prince Song's expression changed, an invisible pressure bearing down. A father taking his son's wife. It goes against all moral principles. He revered His Majesty as the greatest emperor of all time. Absolutely cannot allow His Majesty to be tainted by any blemish. He knew Prince Song was an indispensable link to change the fate of the Central Plains. His Highness absolutely could not fall. He didn't intervene or stop him, merely played another move. For this matter, why doesn't your Highness try asking Prince Shou? The entire court had forgotten about that former husband. Prince Song got into his carriage and left, only replying, "Many things. You'll understand when you're older." His Highness was not swayed. But inside the carriage, strategist Liu was moved. Meeting Prince Shou, there's nothing to lose. The birthday banquet ended. The Wang family's carriage rolled away from Sifong Inn, vanishing into the night. Inside the carriage, Wang Sung glanced back at the inn, thinking. A storm in the imperial court was brewing. Next to the inn, in a dark secret chamber, a middle-aged man respectfully reported, "The Wangs have all departed." An oil lamp flared, revealing his face. It was Yao Guangyi, the border general defeated that year. His father sat in the shadows, slowly trimming the lamp wick. Old Master Yao, the true power behind the Yao family. An old man with white hair and beard, on par with grandfather Jiu. Yet he reached the pinnacle purely through cunning. He taught his son a final lesson, encapsulated in 2 words, prudent ruthlessness. Living at the peak of glory, one must walk on thin ice. A spy from the Imperial Guard knelt, reporting everything. Old Master Yao only asked, "Who did Prince Song meet last?" "The Wang family's 3rd young master, Wang Sung." Old Master Yao concluded, "The one who harmed you at the border was that 15-year-old boy." Yao Guangyi was stunned, shouting, "Impossible!" But Old Master Yao just shook his head, striking at his son's core. "The key isn't the boy. It's you. You were afraid, losing the courage to outwit him." He growled. "My Yao family didn't build its foundation by slaughtering opponents. Did it?" Wang Sung narrowly escaped death, completely unaware. He outlined another path. "The concubine Taijin incident is the best opportunity. Use it, use your wits to aid Prince Qi." Back at the Wang Manor, he returned to his old ways. Having reached the 6th stage of Yuan Qi, he aimed for a leap in power. Sifting through his past life's memories, his eyes lit up. "I've got it. Barbarian God strength. The fastest strength-boosting art in existence." But this cultivation method had a harsh prerequisite. One must achieve a tiger bone physique to even hope to cultivate it. He had just reached the peak of leopard bone. To quickly break through to tiger bone, he needed help. A physique-enhancing elixir. He recalled a dark path. Among the palace alchemists, a group specialized in smuggling elixirs, highly secretive. The group hid their operations at Biluo Pavilion, a dilapidated, desolate private residence, nestled on the capital's edge. He ordered Shanhai and Menglong to drive there. Shanhai was skeptical. "Is this truly the place?" He nodded, "Relax, this is it." As he finished speaking, the door burst open. 5 figures, heads bowed and faces covered, quickly slipped out, each highly cautious. All alchemists. Finally, a middle-aged man in blue silk robes emerged, his right hand concealed. The 6-fingered man he sought. He exited the carriage, cupping his hands respectfully. "Taoist master, this junior offers his greetings." He flinched, his face changing. "Who are you? What do you want?" He asked for nothing, simply presented a brocade box, then got back into the carriage and left. He opened it. 2,000 or 3,000 dazzling taels of gold. He'd calculated, with that gold, he'd surely go to the Goguryeo gambling dens. That lawless crowd would surely bring him trouble. That very night, he was ambushed, almost losing an arm. Wang Sung's people rescued him, following orders. He must not be harmed. He also secretly paid off his entire 50,000 taels of gambling debt. 3 days later, the man proactively sought an audience. He respectfully said, "Zhang Zhongshu greets the young master," but still refused to refine elixirs. Wang Sung smiled. "Who said I wanted you to refine elixirs?" Then he uttered the group's secret code. "Elixir thieves remain for 1,000 years. Furnace fire burns for 10,000 autumns. He was horrified. How do you know? He looked straight, decisively. Taoist master, please lead me into the sect. Cornered, he reluctantly revealed an opportunity. The group had an external friend slot called Dark Shadow, which had just become vacant. The price was shockingly exorbitant. He quoted the price, his voice choked. 200,000 taels of gold, just to buy a qualification, not including the elixir itself. He replied immediately, without batting an eye. Accepted. Of course I'll accept, why wouldn't I? This stunned the man. For him, gold and silver were mere tools. He thought, tens of thousands of taels of gold will just be a pile of metal someday. He allowed him to state his first elixir request. He chose immediately, without hesitation. Tiger Bone's small rejuvenation pill. The next night, news arrived. 200,000 taels exchanged. His Dark Shadow qualification officially approved. Nearly 300,000 taels of gold, exchanged for a tiny purple gold card and a brocade box exuding a rich elixir fragrance. He opened the box, swallowed a purple chi-infused pill. A fierce wind rose, the void echoed with a tiger's roar, then fell silent. Then crackling sounds erupted all over his body. The Tiger Bone physique had opened, a massive leap in power. Meanwhile, at Prince Song's manor, just as he decided to obstruct the sacred emperor, an eunuch arrived with a golden imperial decree. The decree contained a few light words. Prince Song is to rest at home, excused from court. He froze, his face turning ashen. For 5 days, the same decree was repeated. Then the 5th decree added 6 words, sharp as a cold blade. Prince Chi sent someone to take over his duties. His granduncle struggled to resist. Prince Song realized his true opponent was only one, the sacred emperor. Strategist Lu recalled, that boy seemed to know I would fail early on. He had once hinted they should meet Prince Shou. Prince Song made up his mind. Prepare, I'm going to Prince Shou's manor. That very night, his carriage rolled to the manor's gate. Prince Shou stammered, evading, finally hinting. Don't pursue the concubine Taishan matter anymore. This matter isn't as the world believes. Back at the manor, strategist Lu was stunned. Who has the power to silence a prince? Both suddenly thought of a name. The one on the throne, the sacred emperor. Prince Song made a bold decision. I want to meet concubine Taishan. An old man in black robes, face hidden by a conical hat, quietly appeared in his carriage. Master Inshan. How dare Inshan refuse? The carriage rolled into the palace, pressure pressing like a mountain. Master Inshan performed the chi-gazing art, reading the chi above people's heads. The result stunned everyone. Concubine Taishan had married Prince Shou years ago, yet she still exuded the aura of a virgin. Prince Song couldn't believe his ears, exclaiming, What? How can that be? She's been in the palace for over a month. Master Inshan didn't explain, only said, The general trend is irresistible, Your Highness must handle it yourself, then vanished into the night. Doubts piled up with no explanation. Finally, strategist Lu concluded, For this matter, I should go ask Wang Sung. At the Wang Manor, he was in seclusion cultivating barbarian god strength. His Dantian formed strands of strength, he reached the 6th layer of Yuan Qi strength. He tested its power. One punch crushed a rockery to fine powder. Then with one hand, he lifted a 400 caddy stone block, spinning it. Strategist Lu came to invite him. Last time, both sides were suspicious. Now they both laughed, breaking the ice between them. Arriving at the manor, Prince Song directly asked the truth. Wang Sung replied unexpectedly, I don't know either, but is the truth truly important? He warned, Your Highness truly doesn't have much time. Tomorrow, if concubine Taishan becomes empress, half the court will be demoted. He quoted a famous saying, For the benefit of the country, one should not fear life or death. Prince Song was shaken, convinced, and sighed. Well said. But then he said bitterly, Now, whatever I want to do, it's already too late. How will he salvage the situation? Find out next time. In Prince Song's manor, The air hung heavy like lead. 5 imperial edicts had just ousted him from the court. He sighed, his voice weary. It's too late. If I act now, it'll only be an excuse for them to punish me. The old steward mused. Lu Ting was helpless. Prince Qi and the Yao clan were about to swallow the Ministry of War and Ministry of Justice. Silent in the corner the whole time, 15-year-old Wang Chong finally spoke, revealing a strange gambit. You don't need to openly support the imperial concubine. Not opposing her, that is support. If he turned his anger into silence, spreading rumors that there's more to the concubine's case, public opinion would waver. The protests softened, the sacred emperor lost his excuse to act, and all the ministers were saved. The 3 were stunned. A child discussing court affairs like an old minister, but Lu Ting still worried. In half a year, the Ministry of War might be lost. Wang Chong uttered a name that made all 3 look at him as if he were insane. Imperial concubine Taizhen. The one who hated Prince Song to the bone. He who tied the bell must untie it. He smiled, confident. Prince Song was half believing, half doubting, but still promised. If I can do it, I will certainly grant your wish. In the carriage, he mused. People called the imperial concubine a demoness who ruined the nation, but only he knew she was madly obsessed with poetry. This world valued martial arts, poetry had declined, no Li Bai, no Du Fu. He knew hundreds of masterpieces by heart. Back at the manor, he carefully copied the poem Qin Ping Diao Ci, his handwriting shaky, then stamped it with Prince Song's seal. He ordered a servant to take it to the palace. Deliver this letter personally to Imperial concubine Taizhen, in Jade True Palace. At the same time, his cultivation hit a wall. The barbarian god mirror had reached the 6th level. To advance, he needed to reach 7th stage primordial qi. But he had to leave the capital for the mountains, and outside the city, a Dongying assassin was lurking, waiting to take his life. So he sought out the Four Seas Inn, a dilapidated tea house nestled against the city wall, actually a place to hire martial artists. The shopkeeper pointed to the strongest swordsman, 300 taels per job. He scoffed, asking for an even higher price. The man sneered, pointing to a corner on the 2nd floor. A ragged, gray-robed martial artist, with a sign reading 5,000 gold taels per month. He laid out 4 bizarre conditions. Pay up front, no obeying orders, no commitments, leave whenever he pleased. The entire tea house waited to see him humiliated. Wang Chong simply replied, agreed. The whole room fell silent. A servant, unconvinced, threw a punch. The gray-robed man snorted, sending him flying into the wall, completely unfazed. The entire tea house was shaken. This skill was at least true martial 6th or 7th stage. The 2 shook hands. It's a deal. Only after receiving the gold did he reveal his name, Li Zhuxin, a man of his word. With him as a guard, Wang Chong could cultivate in the mountains with peace of mind. Switching to Jade True Palace. Hearing Prince Song sent a letter, the imperial concubine fumed, waving her hand. Burn it, don't read it. The letter was tossed into the garment incineration chamber, where old clothes were burned. A young maid, accustomed to admiring beautiful things, pulled out the letter and read it. After just a few lines, the girl froze, forgetting the fire before her. The poem was breathtakingly beautiful. A few days later, the imperial concubine noticed the entire palace was different. Maids, nannies, even the Golden Crow guards were secretly peeking and whispering. Only after persistent questioning was it revealed. Everyone had heard whispers of a poem praising the concubine's peerless beauty. No one knew it entirely, each remembered a fragment. Tracing the source, it all led back to that young maid. The girl trembled, kneeling to confess. That poem, I found it in Prince Song's letter. Prince Song, the imperial concubine froze. The man she hated to the bone. Why would he send a poem of praise? Curiosity overcame her anger. She demanded the unburnt letter back, ordering the young maid to stand in the middle of the palace and read it aloud for all to hear. The girl held the poem, her voice suddenly soft as water. Clouds imagine her clothes, flowers her face. The entire palace was immersed in the imagery. The imperial concubine's heart melted. Even the stern nanny's eyes gleamed with a dreamy look. The maids were lost in a daze. So beautiful, so beautiful. The entire palace guessed the immortal fairy in the poem was her. Taishan concubine was spellbound. Am I truly that beautiful? Next to the title was the character one. It turned out to be only the first poem. There must be a second and third. The old hatred slowly dissolved. The imperial concubine tossed and turned all night, her mind fixated on the poem, yearning to know the second and third parts. Outside court, Prince Song suddenly fell silent, spreading rumors of hidden truths. The protests dropped by more than half, turning the situation around. In the palace, Lord Yang, the imperial concubine's cousin, excitedly rushed in. Our biggest enemy has suddenly changed his ways. She snorted coldly. Li Qingqi is scared, just trying to curry favor with me. Then reluctantly handed the poem to her cousin. Originally a gambler, blind to poetry, he also recognized the poem was excellent, but was startled because it bore Prince Song's seal. He advised, bringing Prince Song to their side was better than relying solely on the ill-reputed Prince Qi and the Yao clan. Still filled with hatred, she ordered a reply letter written, with a single sarcastic sentence. Your Highness, why so arrogant before, yet so respectful now? At Prince Song's manor, Wang Sung instructed Lu Ting to intercept that letter, keep it hidden, and absolutely not let Prince Song know. He whispered the reply's content, asking Lu Ting, the foremost master of calligraphy imitation, to mimic Prince Song's handwriting. Lu Ting was troubled. You're so young. How do you know I can imitate Prince Song's handwriting? Wang Sung just smiled and left to cultivate. He had no choice but to mimic Prince Song's tone, writing a letter of praise. Who knew your highness was so beautiful? I've truly offended you. Jade True Palace received the letter. Expecting Prince Song's anger, they were surprised by his humble praise. The imperial concubine found herself unable to hate him. Lord Yang compared the two papers, the shaky poetic script, the strong letter script, clearly not written by the same person. At Prince Song's manor, the three placed the shaky poem on the table. He learned for the first time that Wang Sung had used his name to send the poem. He blushed crimson. But Lu Ting realized, a young man admiring beauty is only natural. The bad handwriting was intentional, clearing all suspicion. The reply revealed the true author, a young man named Wang Sung. The imperial concubine heard the name for the first time, frowning in thought. Lord Yang, hearing it, jumped. That fool is Wang Sung, the one who gave him 1,000 taels at the Azure Phoenix brothel. Meanwhile, Wang Sung had entered the mountains. For several days amidst thorny forests, he searched for a hidden thing, a spirit vein. 9 days straight, reaching the mountain peak, then whoosh, a primordial chi current 10 times denser surged up. Ha! Found it! He ordered the entire desolate mountain range bought. Beneath it is something more precious than a mineral vein. This would be his future army training base. Cultivating the barbarian god mirror atop the spirit vein, his progress was visibly rapid. Then boom, a powerful tremor. He broke through to 7th stage primordial chi, his body shooting up several inches. Meng Long was awestruck. So powerful, nothing like a 7th stage. Having reached 7th stage, he decided to practice the ultimate sword art he created. Now I can practice that sword art. One word chain slash. Meanwhile, deep within the palace, an imperial concubine who had never met him was consumed by endless curiosity, to be revealed next time. After settling the court's political game, he quietly left the capital for a desolate mountain peak, the hiding place of a great spirit vein. He was now at the 7th stage of primordial chi, a realm he'd spent years to reach in his previous life. He sat leaning against a great tree, practicing a sword art he'd created himself, the one-word chain slash. Then Hai led men up the mountain, buying out the entire vein region. He brought laborers and provisions to set up a training base. Just then, killing intent flared. A dark shadow darted forth, its movements erratic like a ghost, an Eastern Ing female assassin. She unleashed her ghost shadow steps, sending 3 Wang family guards flying like rag dolls. In the dense forest, none could match her. He didn't fight, instead transforming into a sword to dodge, then shouted, "Li Zhu Xian, aren't you coming out yet?" A tattered gray-robed elder appeared behind her like a specter, unleashing a surge of qi to send her flying dozens of feet away. It was Li Zhu Xian, a true martial expert he'd hired for 5,000 taels of gold, who had been hiding nearby for over 10 days undetected. Li Zhu Xian advised, "Young lady, stand down." She merely sneered, "Humph, at least you know your place." He quietly observed. Her aura was chaotic, her strength significantly weakened, like a fatal flaw erupting. He commanded, "Li Zhu Xian, capture her alive." She used the force to launch herself away, unleashing ghost shadow steps to flee, with him in pursuit. Meng Long advised leaving the mountain. He shook his head. Abandoning the laborers in the forest would be no different than sending them to their deaths. Moreover, beneath their feet lay a precious great spirit vein, something countless powerful families would shed blood to claim. He refused to retreat. He issued a strange order, clear-cut all the trees around the peak. The ghost shadow steps relied on leveraging trees to be effective. Then he walked around alone, plucking several round fruits from a purple flower bush, crushing them, and concealing them in his palm. Suddenly, she turned back for a surprise attack, dropping from the treetops, feigning, "Too bad. I'm not your Mr. Li." She lunged to slash then high with extreme speed. He reacted quickest with a single strike of Wu Si, shattering half her sword blade. She roared, "I'll kill you," drawing a short dagger, stabbing repeatedly like a venomous snake. But he dodged, stabbing her in the shoulder. It turned out Li Zhu Xian had already severely wounded her. She ignored the guards, chasing only him deeper into the forest, while he ran in circles, luring her on. As she stepped on a tree trunk for leverage, a black mamba, camouflaged against the bark, suddenly struck her. She tumbled down. A laborer turned pale. A black mamba, highly venomous. One drop of blood and your throat closes. Instant death. It turned out he had set a trap. The scent of the crushed purple fruits was the snake bait. The assassin had been ambushed by her own prey. He jumped down, calmly stating, "No need to worry, she's exhausted." The guards immediately pressed their swords to her throat. Her lips dark with venom, she closed her eyes and surrendered. "Do with me as you please." Li Zhu Xian stepped out from behind the tree. He hadn't left, only waited. He was stunned. The young master had personally defeated the assassin. He asked if the young master wanted to know who sent her. He merely smiled, he already knew. Li Zhu Xian secretly admired him. She fainted from the poison. Waking up, she found herself tied to a tree, but the poison was cured. Confused, she asked, You didn't kill me?" Li Zhu Xian untied her, telling her to leave. She stumbled away, then vanished down the mountain path. He had deliberately let her go. She was connected to the Eastern Ing 10 Overseas Isles, and he would need a guide there later. Just as he predicted, she returned very quickly, her steps faltering, her face pale. She revealed. She had been severely wounded by the pavilion master right after leaving. The mission had failed, an assassin gets no third chance. The ghost shadow step's flaw was too great. Only he could save her. She knelt, pleading, "No matter what, please save me, young master." In exchange for her life, she cut her fingertip, swearing a blood oath. "By the black dragon, I swear eternal loyalty to young master." She drew a blood talisman on her glabella. He nodded. "Gong Wu Ling Xiang. Correct? Rise, I accept." She respectfully bowed, calling him, for the first time, by two words rarely heard in the Central Plains. "Yes, master." With the matter settled, he suddenly remembered. Near the Great Spirit Vein was also a large iron mine, a source of top-grade weapon materials. He tasked Meng Long with finding it. He wasn't foolish. He only taught her the first layer of the cultivation technique, enough to alleviate the damage, but not yet to mend the flaw. Then he entered seclusion, cultivating the one-word chain slash to grand completion, and then began practicing the dragon bone art. Thanks to the Great Spirit Vein, Half a month later, he broke through to the second layer of tiger bone. His 5 senses expanded, his hearing and smell unusually sharp. Gong Wu Lingxiang proactively sought him out, warning, "The assassin pavilion absolutely does not tolerate failed missions." She said the pavilion master was even stronger than Mr. Li. He would surely personally hunt her and him down. His expression changed. But he remained calm. He only needed 1 month to finish it. He uttered a single sentence that shook the entire clearing. To deal with assassins, of course, we use the Imperial Army. The Imperial Army, something only the Sacred Emperor could command. Even speaking of it was taboo. He already had a plan. He would rely on his uncle Li Lin and Zhao Fengchen. He asked her for the assassin pavilion's location, then nodded. That's enough. Just then, a Wang Manor guard reported. The Tuoba Gue Yuan blade was forged. His mother sent a message. There's something at the manor. Return quickly. He was startled. Unaware of the passage of time in the mountains, so much had passed. The blade was forged. Matters at the manor, he had to return. He entrusted the Great Spirit Vein to Gong Wu Lingxiang's care, then turned to the gray-robed expert beside him. He calmly spoke. Mr. Li, prepare yourself, we're descending the mountain. The next day, he led Li Zhu Xian down the mountain, departing, closing the first chapter of a long journey ahead. The boy once scorned by his entire family had now truly risen. The path of a human emperor, it had only just begun.